Hello, me again. Just, I don't know, this could be long, it could be short, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting anyway. So, today, I left here to arrive at the hospital for 8 o'clock, and my postings are on Facebook if anybody wants to have a look. But I ended up, well, I was told to be at the hospital for 8 o'clock, and 10:30 I was still at the hospital because we were supposed to go to another hospital for whatever reasons we were supposed to go. We eventually got there, and now I'm militantly against wearing a mask. And this, okay, so in right, my sister's been in, today's 8 weeks exactly since she's been in hospital, so that's 56 days, I believe. And at no time have I worn a mask. Now people say to me, "Oh, you're lucky you were able to go and see her," because I said I've visited her. Of those 56 days, I've visited her 54 days thus far. Oh, you're lucky. It's nothing to do with luck. I'm very assertive, and I know how to get what I want. I know how to make things happen if I want them to happen. So then it was going to the other hospital where they are super strict on wearing masks. So I walk in, but it's putting on the whole armor, Ephesians 6. For me, I'm having the time of my life. I'm getting practice in with regards wearing the armor. So I go in shields up, off I go. And there are sort of like two people, so you've got to go past one as at the main entrance. And it's like reaching for the mask. I don't want one. Why not? I have issues with breathing. And then I go in, and there's somebody standing there pointing one of these supersonic thermometers and requesting to take my temperature. And it's like, okay, this is new. So temperature tested, nothing. And then I'm asked, do you have any symptoms? Assuming they mean symptoms of COVID, no. But then who's to say that I would tell? You know what I mean? So there's no foolproof way of knowing. You're asking me, have I got symptoms? I could say yes or no. But what are the symptoms? If you're paying attention, then maybe you could argue that I have had symptoms. And when I say symptoms, I mean things that coincide with what the symptoms of coronavirus are. But nevertheless, as I got through that second point, I was being offered a mask, and no, I have issues with breathing, and I'm experiencing them now. So basically, when I say that I've got issues with breathing, I'm talking from the perspective that sometimes it's one of these things where I've said before that I had acid reflux and I cured it. I know that I cured it because I don't have a problem with it anymore, even though I'm still eating the foods and drinking the drinks that I'm told that I shouldn't, and I don't have a problem. So I know that's cured, but with regard to breathing, that's another issue. I wouldn't be able to say that I've cured it. I would rather say I know how to manage it. But one of my problems is people would look at me because I look fit and healthy and think there's nothing wrong with me. But it's this thing where you can't see what's wrong or what's right with a person. It's not always what's wrong, it's what's right sometimes. And so like I said, I don't view myself as aggressive, but I come across as aggressive because I'm super assertive and bordering on the point of aggressive to the untrained eye. Right, so I just walked in. So whenever I'm in a situation, I proceed. I just go in full tilt, armed up to the hilt, with the Ephesians 6 style armor, because for me now in this current era is a good time to get your practice in, because you don't know what's gonna come next, and if you don't know, if you don't sort of like practice your weaponry skills, how are you going to be able to use them at such a time as you need to? So for example, the nurse that accompanied us I'm being vague here, but I'm not going to go into the details of my sister's medical issues. So the nurse that accompanied us to the other hospital, I was saying to, again, second time, another nurse said that to my sister, that you should be glad that you've got a sister like her who fights for you. I just like fighting. I'll fight for anybody, you know. I'm just naturally, I'm a natural warrior. So anyway, so that nurse said what she said. But for me, I see this as target practice. This is, you know, with this coronavirus madness thing that's going on, and people, even sort of like regular people trying to enforce the law, trying to tell people where's your mask and the likes. I see it as an opportunity. Gosh, sorry, I can't talk tonight. I see it as an opportunity because whereas people are getting challenged in some quarters by, you know, just regular members of the public, I sometimes hope that one of them will come and challenge me, but they never do. One woman did say something to me one time, but I firmly put her in her place. But whatever opportunities I get to try out my weapons, I gladly take them, because at such a time, you don't know when that time is going to come. Because look at it now, you're the minority if you're not wearing a mask, right? And who would have thought that in February? Who would have thought that we're going to be in an age where everybody's wearing one of these things around their faces, right? So who is to say in another 6 months' time what's going to happen? So it's to be able to be prepared for all things. So for me, that's how I look at it. So this was another victory scored, and it was really interesting, because coming out of the hospital, the same people who I met going in were at the door, and the way it's, I can't, if you either understand energy or you don't, but I had my energy on full beams. And so what I do is I walk and I'm like this, so I don't look at anybody. I'm just like, you know, but I can see out of the corner of my eye, I can see them looking. But if you sort of carry yourself in that kind of don't mess with me, I'll kick your ass kind of way, nobody messes with you. So despite the fact that people are saying you must wear a mask, you must do this, you don't have to must do anything, right? If you don't agree with something, you don't have to do it. Yes, there might be consequences. As like, for example, you might not be able to get into a shop, you might not be able to get on public transport or whatever. But it's about being willing to sacrifice. So for me, if they say to me, sorry, you can't come into the hospital, which is pretty much what happened last week. I had a meeting and I was told, oh, you need to wear a mask. And I said, I don't want one. You have to. And I said, well, I leave. We had the meeting. I didn't wear a mask. So it's about asserting yourself. It's if you know, if you're in the right, you're in the right, and it doesn't matter how many people are against you. You just so that's for me what I'm doing. I'm taking the opportunity now to do my target practice, because when reality hits, we don't know what's going to happen down the line. I want to make sure that I'm armed, deadly, and ready. So that's the intro. But anyways, earlier this evening, I had a conversation with somebody who suggested to me, as regards what's going on with family and my sister's illness and everything, that I shouldn't post on Facebook. Now, I have to say, I don't have a history of listening to people or taking on board people's advice. So obviously, at this point in time, that one went in one and out the other. But it's very interesting how people on whatever level they find themselves, it's always people who are not on the same level, and judge me if you will, but who are on a lesser level. It's always people on the lesser level who have the most advice to give me. And I don't have a history of taking other people's advice. I think perhaps I would be in the gutter at some point. I would have already been in the gutter if I'd taken on board a lot of the advice offered to me by people who don't have the first clue about how to run their own lives. right? So I've decided that I'm going to do a video, because when I was in the hospital with my sister today and they were talking serious things, because I got up very early and I was kind of tired, I'm going to show you what I was in the hospital doing throughout. It was a long process. I will show you what I was doing while everything was going on. I was playing my game. I think, what level am I at? I'm at level 264. This is what I was doing in the hospital, right? So this is how seriously I take illness and diagnoses and whatever, playing my game. But I was paying attention. So anyway, I'm all about self-development. I don't know how many times I've said this. And so I have had a younger sister who died in 1992. And I think I've mentioned before that I've had heart surgery. My sister in Canada has had a heart surgery, and my younger sister had a heart surgery also, right? So obviously there's a pattern there. So anyway, my younger sister died in 1992 when she was 24, I think. Anyways, so at that point, she died in her sleep. Now, I was made aware that her heart, sometime before, her heart was only working 30%, and she was on warfarin, blood thinners. But I assumed her heart was only working 30% and there was nothing they could do. But I sort of, trained, got my head together and started to prepare for the time when she would die, basically. But I got taken by surprise because I thought she would get ill. This is me putting my spin on it, thinking she was going to get ill, go into hospital and die. But that didn't happen. She went to bed and she died during the night. And that was that. Now, cutting a long story short with everything, I got taken by surprise. And I decided that I never wanted to feel like that again. And as I've said, I'm all about self-development. So, 1992, that's what, 28 years ago? So imagine if I'm all about self-development where I'm at now, so you can understand why I'm here in the hospital trying to stay energized, playing my game while they're talking the talk. Now, people would look at it if I said I'm not concerned about my sister's health, I'm not concerned about my mother's health. But the reason I'm not concerned is because there are no emotions or feelings involved. I'm all about practicalities. This is a level that I've evolved to, right? So I'm not here fretting, chewing my nails, clasping my hands, asking God to make them okay, because I'm at that point now where I understand that all life is in God's hands. He knows our end, our beginning from our end, and it's up to Him. I know some people don't believe in God, but it's up to Him to decide when we depart this earth. Now, people will think I'm highly insensitive saying this, but I think it's pathetic when people are sort of like trying to cling on to life, any kind of life, just to stay alive. For me, if I'm speaking about myself personally, if there is no quality of life, then my thing, and I've said this in a previous video, when I get ill, I don't even put it out there that I'm not well. I only put it out there if I need to. Right, for expediency's sake. I keep it to myself. So, but it's between me and God. So, I in the past where I've been really ill, I've said to Him, if you mean to kill me, then kill me. If you mean for me to live, then tell me what I need to do so I can make myself better. That is literally how I do illness. So, I'm not the type of person who, like I said, today was all about the hospital. I left here like 7:30 in the morning, and I didn't get back until I think quarter to 4 or something like that. And so all of that time was sort of dedicated to going to the hospital and then traveling to the other hospital with my sister. And here I am now. I came back, and I think I started work about 5:30ish, and I think I've played catch up. I've still got some other things to do, but I have 4 days in which to sort of get everything done. So tomorrow I can do a long day because I don't need to. I can get up early, do what I have to do, and then I don't have to think about the hospital until 5:30. So I can still get a full day's work done. So that will be that. But I don't really. I can't stress personal development enough. For me, I just look at it. It's like having a fence and there are holes in it, right? I look to plug them. Anything that I see where there might be some kind of emotional, and I will say disconnect, because I don't want to react to my emotions. I don't want anything to affect me in an emotional kind of way. And there are deadbeats, and I have to say deadbeats. We're going to say, but we are human, and we have feelings and we have emotions and all of that. Well, it is because people have feelings and emotions why they stay, for example, in bad relationships, and they allow people to treat them like rubbish and so forth, because, oh, I know this person treats me like rubbish, but I know he loves me, I know she loves me, blah blah blah. He beats me up, but I know he loves me. She runs around with other men, but I know she loves me. Feelings and emotions, feelings and emotions. You should be able to, for me, like I said at the beginning of this video, for me, it's all about being able to do the thing that I need to do in that moment, and to do it with decisiveness. So when I have somebody telling me don't put stuff on Facebook, there are reasons why I do what I do. I put things on Facebook, like when I wrote the book, I didn't write it to tell people what to think in the way that people would tell me don't do this and don't do that. I wrote it to make people think, not because I personally want to make people think, but there are things to think about, in a helpful kind of way, and the book has helped people. And so it's the same thing with what I post on Facebook. It has helped people. They write to me and they let me know, some of them, right? And so the same thing with the videos. I don't have many subscribers, but I think I've got 28 subscribers now. But for me, it's not about that. I put things out there. Like I say, it's like a buffet. And if people want to come and eat, it's up to them. If they don't want to, it's up to them as well. But I do what I feel that I need to do. But I don't, you will never hear me tell anyone, don't do this or don't do that. The only way I might do that is if they actually come to me and say, what do you think? Right? If somebody actually comes to me and asks my opinion about something, or asks me, what do you think? No, if somebody says to me, what would you do in my position? I don't have a response for that, because I am not you. I am not in your position. And more often than not, I wouldn't be in your position, because, as I said, it's usually to do with their feelings and emotions. And for me, feelings and emotions don't come into anything. I'm all about practicalities, right? So it is, I find it very, very interesting that, again, throughout the course of my life, have had people telling me, don't do this, don't do that, you should do this, I think this would suit you, just opinions. And I've never listened to anyone. Everything I do, even today, I had a conversation with Mother, and I said, I don't owe any of you anything. None of you have done anything for me. And I don't mean that in a horrible kind of way. I'm just saying this is the reality, because what they've, I suppose, what what I gained from them was more criticism. And when I say criticism, I don't mean that and I'm feeling hard done by, like, oh, my family didn't support me, because I don't need anybody to support me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do anyway. But it just makes life easier if you don't have people, there's less negativity in your life. If you don't have people telling you, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you're useless, blah, blah, blah. It makes life easier if you don't have that. But it's never stopped me, despite all the criticism, despite all the bad advice, which it has been. Any advice to me is bad advice unless I've solicited it. Right? So despite all the advice that people continue to give me, even now, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't say that, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. Despite all of that, I've still managed to end up in a position where I'm doing exactly what not so much what I need to do or what I want to do, but what God wants me to do. And as I've said, the only reason why I'm able to be in a situation where I'm supporting my sister is because I'm in a position. I said this yesterday in the video. God uses you if you're available, but you've got to be available in spirit. So it's not a case of, some people, they look at it and think, oh, you must really love your sister. It's got nothing to do with love. Zero to do with love, right? It's just, I'm practical. And at the end of the day, if I find myself in a situation where I can take care of it, then that's what I do. I've done, I'll give you an example. I went to, when I used to go to church, there was an activity one Saturday, and it was an all dayer, and it was supposed to culminate with a disco, but the equipment was taken up to Manchester. It wasn't supposed to have left the premises, but I guess the people who took it up there, because there was a convention going on, they didn't think that perhaps it might be needed where it belonged. So when it came to the disco, obviously people presumed that the equipment was there and that was going to happen. There was no equipment. So I was just there for the disco. I wasn't organizing it. I wasn't playing the music. I didn't have anything to do with it as such. I was just there to dance like everybody else. So when I realized that the equipment wasn't there, I took the initiative. And so I phoned around. I said, leave it with me, because there were people and they were just going to say, oh, we'll just go up to Trafalgar Square. Or they had a little, CD player. And they sort of had that on the stage. And I'm thinking, how can you use this for a disco? So standards matter. So what I did was I was phoning around, asking all the people I know who are DJs if they could sort of do something, and it was like none were available. But I knew someone who owned a DJ equipment shop. So I called him, although it was close to closing time. I called him and asked him if he could stay open. And then we made a mad dash across the river to the shop. I told him, we're doing a disco, and he wired up everything, had it ready. So we just loaded it up in the car. We waited, loaded it up in the car, and we had the disco. But what I did was I used my own money as a deposit to secure the equipment, and then I was reimbursed afterwards. So this is the nature. I didn't need to do that. I could have picked myself up and said, oh, sod this, and go home. But I'm a problem solver. So no emotions involved. That's just how I go about doing things. But it's like if I was to, I mean, if somebody was to have walked in, or I don't even know what they were thinking, I'm sitting there with my tablet playing my game while my sister's having her consultation. People must have thought, what a cold-hearted so-and-so. But it's just symptomatic of development. What does it make me a better person if my feelings and emotions are on display? I mean, if you think so, then good for you. But like I said, I'm all about development, and that's what I sell. I don't sell anything that I've not tried. I was having a conversation earlier with one of my friends, hello friend, And I was saying, like, when my sister comes back from the hospital, she's being discharged on Friday. And for the 8 weeks that she's been in hospital, she's made no improvement. So I've already got my lotions and potions in my mind that I'm going, because she's going to be here, and I can sort of, instead of sort of taking them to the hospital and just leaving her to take, like, for example, if I take the ginger for her and expecting her to eat it, or to, if I've made it into a drink, to drink it, I can supervise it here. I can actually stand over her and say, here, eat this, here, drink this, or whatever it is I'm going to do. And I'm not going to come out and say I back myself to get her well. But unlike the medics, who don't look beyond their training and the medical books, I look up above. In fact, I don't need to look above. All I do is, if I don't understand what to do, or I don't know what to do, I will not so much wait for the inspiration, or go and pursue it. I don't wait, but I know it will come. Because if you've got a mind for something, if your mind is focused on something, if it's focused for good, then depending on your understanding of God or your relationship with Him, you will get the thing you need. But as I've said so many times, you're not going to get anything if you don't you've got to do your part in order to get. And I know that whatever I need, if it be His will, I will get it. So if it is His will that I use my quackery to bring my sister back to where she needs to be, I can guarantee you I will get it. But that is subject to whether that is His will or not, which goes back to my sister. I said in 1992, I had assumed that she was going to get sick, go to the hospital, and then die. I did not expect to get a phone call the Monday morning to say that she died during the night, right? And I decided that I wasn't going to feel the way I felt again. And so I have a different understanding of life and death. I'm not saying that my sister's going to die or my mother's going to die. I'm just saying, as well as with sickness, I handle it completely different to how other people would expect me to handle it. So again, it's other people's expectations. So people interpret my attitude as cold and uncaring. It's nothing to do with that. I'm all about practicalities. So when my sister returns on Friday, I'm not going to be here wringing my hands, holding her hand, mopping her brow. I'm going to be here looking to see what I can do to get her back to her normal self. That is what I'm going to be doing. So that's going to be my challenge come Friday. And so anybody watching this, please keep your advice to yourself. Don't go around telling people what they should say and what they shouldn't say, or what they should write or shouldn't write, right? Because you never know. There might be somebody out there who can benefit from it. That is the sole reason of why I post, and also, I guess, why I do the videos. But so I don't take advice from people. It's the old, physician, heal yourself. If you've got issues going on in your own life, deal with them instead of going around trying to tell people what they need to do. I don't have any issues. My life is fantastic. And so my next target is to try and help my sister recover her health, because the hospital didn't do that for her, even though she was there for 8 weeks. So if you like, we're back to where we started from, and I will be gathering ingredients. I pretty much know what I'm going to try to begin with. So as of tomorrow, I'm going to be gathering the ingredients for when she comes back on Friday. So I hope there was something there to pick from. So pick sense from my nonsense. See you later.